Confidence becomes magnetic in a way that cannot be faked or borrowed because it is rooted in years of experience, growth, and self-acceptance. When a woman reaches an older age, the kind of confidence she carries is not about needing to prove herself to others or chasing external validation. It is about an inner steadiness that makes people naturally drawn to her. This type of presence is not about being loud or dominating a room, but about walking in with calm assurance, knowing who she is, what she stands for, and what she will not tolerate. People sense this quiet strength, and it creates a powerful kind of attraction that surpasses surface-level beauty because it signals security, maturity, and a life that is fully lived without apology. The magnetism of confidence also shows itself in the way she carries her body and her expression, the way she maintains eye contact, the way she smiles with authenticity, the way her posture reflects self-respect, all speak louder than any physical feature. Younger beauty may capture attention quickly, but it is confidence at an older age that holds attention in a lasting way. It reassures those around her, communicates that she knows her worth, and establishes an atmosphere where others feel both inspired and safe. This creates a gravitational pull, where her energy itself becomes a force that others want to be close to, not because of how she looks alone, but because of how she makes them feel in her presence. Confidence at an older age is also magnetic, because it allows a woman to be comfortable with imperfections. She no longer hides behind masks or feels the need to fit into unrealistic standards. Instead, she wears her uniqueness with pride. She can laugh at herself without embarrassment. She can acknowledge her flaws without shame, and this openness creates a sense of ease that makes her incredibly attractive. People admire someone who is comfortable in their own skin because it frees them to feel more comfortable in theirs. The kind of woman who owns her age, her lines, her history, and still stands tall radiates a level of self-assurance that cannot be imitated by someone who has not lived through life's lessons. This confidence also changes the way she interacts with others. She is not desperate for approval, so she listens more attentively. She speaks with clarity instead of trying to impress, and she values connection over competition. There is no hidden agenda when she engages with people, which makes her more trustworthy and magnetic. In a world where many feel the pressure to perform, she becomes a refreshing presence because her confidence communicates freedom. It tells others they do not have to prove themselves to her, and that natural acceptance becomes one of the most attractive qualities a person can offer. The depth of this confidence comes from resilience. Having faced challenges, disappointments, victories, and failures, she has built an inner strength that radiates outward. This makes her more relatable because people see not just someone who has lived, but someone who has grown stronger because of it. Her scars become symbols of strength, her stories become lessons of endurance, and her very presence tells others that it is possible to rise above anything. This quiet resilience forms the foundation of her magnetic pull because people admire not just who she is, but what it took for her to become that person. Ultimately, confidence at an older age creates a form of attractiveness that cannot fade with time because it does not rely on temporary features but on enduring qualities. It becomes the reason why people turn their heads when she walks in, not out of curiosity, but out of respect. It becomes the reason why her words carry weight, not because she is trying to dominate, but because people can feel that she believes in herself. It becomes the reason why her presence is remembered long after she leaves, because confidence leaves a lasting imprint that outshines everything else. Emotional intelligence shines brighter with age because it is not something that can be quickly developed. It is something cultivated through years of observation, relationships, and personal growth. A woman who has lived through different seasons of life learns how to understand not just her own emotions, but also the emotions of others in a deeper and more empathetic way. She becomes skilled at noticing the unspoken signals, the subtle changes in tone, the body language that reveals more than words. This ability makes her incredibly attractive because people feel seen and understood in her presence. And that kind of connection creates a pull far stronger than anything surface level could provide. Her emotional intelligence allows her to communicate with grace and clarity rather than being reactive. Instead of rushing to defend herself or prove a point, she chooses her words thoughtfully, guided by a calm awareness of how they will land on the other person. This makes conversations with her feel refreshing because she does not escalate conflicts unnecessarily, but instead diffuses tension and fosters understanding. The way she handles disagreements becomes a reflection of her maturity, and it shows those around her that she values harmony over ego. This is not weakness, but strength, and it becomes incredibly magnetic to anyone who experiences it. Another reason emotional intelligence adds to her attractiveness is her ability to manage her own emotions effectively. She knows how to pause before reacting, how to separate temporary feelings from lasting truths, and how to keep her balance when others lose theirs. This stability becomes one of her defining features because it creates a sense of safety for the people in her life. They know that they can trust her not to lash out without reason, not to make everything about her, and not to be driven by insecurity. That calm steadiness radiates confidence and draws people in naturally because emotional security is a rare and precious quality that people crave. With age also comes the wisdom of perspective, and emotional intelligence is deeply connected to perspective. A woman who has seen the highs and lows of life understands that not every problem is permanent, and not every disappointment defines her. She knows when to take things seriously and when to let things go, and this discernment makes her interactions lighter and more meaningful. Instead of clinging to drama or negativity, she carries herself with a sense of balance that is both calming and magnetic. People feel uplifted when they spend time with her because she does not drain their energy but instead restores it with her steady presence. Emotional intelligence also makes her an excellent listener, and listening is one of the most attractive qualities a person can have. She does not just wait for her turn to speak, she genuinely absorbs what others are saying and responds with thoughtfulness. This ability to create space for others makes people feel valued and respected, which deepens the bonds she forms. Her listening is not passive, but active, showing that she truly cares about what is being shared, and this makes people want to open up to her more. That level of connection is magnetic because it creates intimacy and trust that is difficult to find elsewhere. Finally, her emotional intelligence shines through in the way she uplifts and encourages others without needing to diminish herself. She can celebrate another person's success without envy. She can offer comfort without judgment, and she can bring wisdom without condescension. This balance of humility and strength makes her presence both comforting and inspiring. People are drawn to her because she represents the kind of person who understands, accepts, and nurtures without expecting anything in return. Emotional intelligence becomes her most radiant quality, and it is this glow that makes her deeply attractive at an older age. Authenticity over pretense is what truly makes a woman stand out as she grows older, because it reflects a freedom that many spend years trying to find. When she is authentic, she no longer feels the need to conform to every expectation society places on her or to compete with unrealistic standards that often drain joy. She has learned that beauty is not about fitting into a mold, but about embracing her own uniqueness, and that realization radiates a natural charm. People are drawn to those who are unapologetically themselves because authenticity is rare in a world where so many try to mask who they truly are. The courage to live as she is, without constant adjustment for others' approval, makes her magnetic in a way that cannot be manufactured. This authenticity shows in the way she speaks her truth without arrogance, but with clarity. She does not sugarcoat her opinions to gain acceptance, nor does she hide what she feels in fear of rejection. Instead, she communicates with honesty, even when her perspective may differ, and that kind of realness draws respect. People admire someone who does not bend easily to please, but stands firm in her values, because it sets a tone of confidence and reliability. When she shares her thoughts, they carry weight, not because she is trying to dominate, but because she is rooted in truth. Her words are trusted because they come from a place of alignment with who she really is, and that depth of honesty makes her captivating. Authenticity also means she does not exhaust herself with constant comparison. At an older age, she understands that someone else's beauty, success, or charm does not diminish her own. She no longer wastes energy trying to imitate others, because she has discovered that her individuality is her greatest asset. This independence from comparison creates an aura of peace, and people feel more relaxed around her because there is no hidden competition. She does not need to prove she belongs. She already knows it, and that assurance becomes one of the most attractive features she carries. It allows her to celebrate others sincerely while standing proudly in her own lane, radiating a quiet power that cannot be overlooked. Living authentically also gives her relationships a different quality. The connections she forms are based on honesty and real compatibility rather than performance or pretense. Those around her know that what they see is what they get, and that trustworthiness becomes a rare and valuable trait. She attracts people who value depth and substance because she has no interest in shallow games. This makes her presence both refreshing and magnetic because authenticity invites authenticity in return. When people realize they can drop their masks around her, they gravitate toward her naturally, appreciating the safe space she creates simply by being herself. Her authenticity is also reflected in the way she embraces her journey without shame. She does not hide the marks of age, the stories etched in her face, or the lessons carved into her life. Instead, she allows them to be part of her beauty, recognizing that they tell a story no one else can replicate. By wearing her history with pride rather than regret, she communicates that she values herself at every stage. This self-acceptance inspires others to see their own journeys with less judgment, and that influence is deeply attractive. It is not perfection, but honesty that people admire, and her willingness to show herself fully becomes her greatest strength. At the heart of authenticity is freedom, and freedom is one of the most magnetic qualities a woman can possess. A woman who is free from pretending, from performing, and from pleasing radiates a kind of joy that cannot be faked. She is light to be around because she is not weighed down by constant worry about how she appears or whether she measures up. This liberation makes her presence feel refreshing, and it leaves a lasting impression on anyone who meets her. Authenticity does not fade with age, it only deepens, and it becomes the very essence of her attractiveness as she grows older. Wisdom and life experience add depth to a woman in a way that time only strengthens, because they turn her presence into something far more compelling than surface beauty ever could. With every chapter she has lived, she carries knowledge that cannot be taught in books or learned overnight. This wisdom becomes visible in the way she responds to challenges, in the calmness with which she approaches uncertainty, and in the patience she shows toward others. People feel that depth when they are around her, sensing that she has lived through enough to understand what truly matters and what is not worth her energy. That understanding makes her magnetic because it offers comfort, stability, and a sense of direction to those who come near her. The stories she carries become part of what makes her attractive, not just because of the experiences themselves, but because of the way she shares them. She has the ability to take even the most ordinary moment from her past and draw meaning from it, showing how it shaped her outlook and decisions. These stories captivate people because they are layered with lessons, perspective, and authenticity. Listening to her speak feels like being given access to treasures that only time and experience could create. Her wisdom does not make her arrogant, but relatable, because she understands that her path has been filled with both victories and mistakes, and it is that honesty that keeps others drawn to her. Wisdom also shows up in her ability to guide without controlling. She does not feel the need to impose her knowledge on others, but instead she offers it gently, knowing that people value insight more when it is shared with respect. She becomes attractive not because she tries to teach, but because she embodies what she has learned, and people admire her example. Her choices, her behavior, and her perspective all reflect the depth of someone who has lived with intention, and that unspoken wisdom is often more influential than any advice she could give. This quiet guidance makes her a natural source of inspiration as people notice the way she lives and want to emulate it. Another reason wisdom makes her attractive is that it creates resilience. Life experience has shown her that setbacks are not the end but stepping stones, and this outlook allows her to carry herself with confidence even in difficult times. People are drawn to that strength because it reassures them that challenges can be endured and overcome. The resilience she carries is not hardened or bitter, but softened with compassion, because she knows what it feels like to struggle and therefore understands the value of kindness. That balance of strength and softness is captivating because it makes her both admirable and approachable at the same time. Life experience also makes her more discerning about the people she surrounds herself with. She no longer wastes time on relationships that drain her or situations that compromise her values. Instead, she invests in connections that bring depth, growth, and joy. This selectiveness makes her energy feel rare and precious because she does not give it away carelessly. People sense that her attention is meaningful, that her time is valuable, and that her presence is intentional. That awareness makes her more attractive because it communicates self-respect, and it encourages others to rise to the standard she sets simply by how she lives. At its core, wisdom and life experience add a richness to her that cannot be replicated by anyone younger who has not walked the same path. Her presence feels layered, her words carry weight, and her choices reflect clarity that only time could shape. She becomes captivating, not just because of who she is in the moment, but because of the journey that has led her there. People are drawn to her because they sense that with her comes not just beauty, but depth, not just charm, but meaning, not just presence, but legacy. It is this depth that makes her so attractive, and it is this depth that only continues to grow with age. Energy and passion keep a woman vibrant at an older age because they show that she is still engaged with life, still curious, still eager to explore what the world has to offer. This energy does not mean being constantly busy or loud. It means she carries a spark that others can feel when they are around her. That spark comes from her willingness to keep learning, to keep discovering, and to keep pursuing the things that excite her. People are naturally drawn to someone who is alive in spirit because it reminds them of the joy and possibility that life holds. Her passion becomes her magnetism, and it radiates in ways that age cannot dim. Passion gives her an aura of youthfulness that no physical appearance could fully replicate. She might pursue hobbies, causes, or interests that ignite her soul, and this fire is evident in her conversations, her expressions, and her outlook on life. When she talks about what she loves, her eyes light up, her words carry energy, and others cannot help but be inspired. This kind of vibrancy makes her captivating because people want to be near someone who brings enthusiasm and warmth to the room. Her passion becomes contagious, and it elevates the energy of everyone she interacts with. Her energy is not only about what she does, but also about how she approaches challenges. Instead of becoming stagnant or giving in to discouragement, she finds ways to adapt and keep moving forward. This resilience is powered by her passion for life because she refuses to let obstacles define her. People admire that determination because it communicates strength without bitterness and optimism without naivety. This balance creates a magnetic force, showing others that it is possible to face setbacks with grace and still hold onto the excitement of what lies ahead. Vibrancy also shows in the way she takes care of herself physically, mentally, and emotionally. She may not chase perfection, but she values vitality, and that choice makes her energy shine outward. She moves with intention, nourishes her body, and keeps her mind active, all of which contribute to the glow she carries. Others notice this care, and it becomes attractive because it shows self-respect and discipline. When she invests in her own well-being, she becomes a living example of how passion for life includes passion for self, and that makes her presence even more magnetic. Her energy extends into the way she relates to others. She brings enthusiasm into her relationships. She encourages growth in those around her, and she celebrates the victories of others as though they were her own. This generosity of spirit reflects her passion not just for her own life, but for the people who matter to her. Being around her feels uplifting because she has the ability to energize others through her positivity and support. That kind of presence is unforgettable because people rarely forget how someone made them feel, and her energy leaves them feeling lighter and more alive. At the heart of her vibrancy is the refusal to let age define limits. She continues to dream, to set goals, and to explore possibilities, showing that passion does not fade with years but grows deeper with time. This unstoppable spirit becomes one of the most attractive qualities she carries because it represents freedom, curiosity, and strength. People are drawn to her not because she is trying to hold on to youth, but because she proves that life can be lived fully at any stage. Her energy and passion become a legacy, not just traits, and they make her shine with a timeless beauty that only grows stronger as she ages.